evening, good morning, or good afternoon, whenever you choose to listen to us. This is Tap 84 coming to you from Fairyhouse on the 11th of January and Punchestown also on Sunday. I've just noticed I put in the title 11th of April. Don't know why I was thinking of April. I'll have to change that before we go live. Dec, I don't know about you, but I've only just warmed up from attending Nace last Sunday. Don't know about you. Absolutely freezing down there for the Lawlers Day. But how are you? All good?
Yeah, good. It was bitter, wasn't
it? It was proper cold.
It got quite bleak as well, didn't it?
Yeah, you almost couldn't see coming out. Yeah, it was.
No, like back something in a handicap on his lad. You were just hoping he'd appear in front.
Yeah, he's a 2-race streak of running when you can't see him now because he ran at Stevens' Day at Leopardstown. You couldn't see him that day either. Hoping he'd appear out of fog, and this time hoping he'd appear out of a blizzard. A bitterly cold day where Il Atlantique's Arkle credentials were possibly enhanced, as well as the yellow clay really grinding out the Lawlers. Thought he was quite impressive. Bitterly disappointed with Butch Cassidy, I would have to say. But the betting kind of told you what was happening there, I think.
Yeah, the betting did tell us. And look, the yellow clay. You hit the nail on the head on Sunday, Andy, when you said to me like he was the most experienced horse in the field, and he's 4 from 4 over hurdles now. But I just think the season is way behind, and there's been some mad comments this week about how poor the Irish novices are, or how little Willie has, and I just think they're way behind. We haven't got to see them yet.
Go on.
No, I don't think we've seen anything in either country really. You know, in Britain or Ireland, they're way behind. You know, they're only starting to come out now. Like, you look at the beginner's chase on the card at Fairyhouse, it's nice enough. Like, we're only getting to see the likes of Lisnagar Fortune, Mr. G for the first time this season. The Moscow Flyer, like, we're going to see some of Willie's supreme.
These 2 or 3 of them,
yeah. You know, so I think people have just got too accustomed to wanting to back something for Cheltenham every weekend, and instead of backing something on the weekend that's running the weekend, people just want to like punt anti-post all the time, and when they haven't been able to find anything, they're just saying there's nothing there. But the season's just been way behind. It's no secret the ground's been like a road all before Christmas.
Sure, you only have to look across the water. Some horse that we didn't even know existed is now favoured for the Triumph Hurdle. From the
the grey filly.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets on. I like that. I don't know if that's just people desperate to have a bet on something. Maybe it's Sergino going back with the colours from the same race. I don't know.
I'd like to think it was the yard.
I hopefully it must be. Like, it's
after a serious piece of work, worked all over Sergino. The yard have done it. If it's people on Twitter, like, there's charities you can donate your money. There's people who really need your money. You know?
Yeah.
Or there's places, there's other places where you can put it in the credit union. You know, you can build up your shares with it, and then you can take a loan out to have a
back on the way fancy. Going back to Cheltenham, that you did also hit the nail on the head. And a comment that you said to me on Sunday, actually. There's every chance the Supreme and the Bearing Bingham and I'm going to say the Spa Novices Hurdle, the Albert Bartlett, it is the Spa. I would not be surprised if we got some big price winners of those races. Like, Bar to 1 came to the fore, because, as you said, these horses are so inexperienced and so behind. Like, you could have stuff like, remember, obviously, the nice guy who won the Albert Bartlett a few years ago just came from a maiden hurdle at Nace to go and win that. It wouldn't in any way shock me or surprise me if we got some double figure price winners of the big novice hurdles, and possibly even the novice chases, but more so the novice hurdles this year.
I agree. I think we're going to have an old school type festival,
especially if the ground's testing,
and it's badly needed. And I think people are going to be doing their load now, punting favourite, and I'm going to really enjoy it. You know, if you can use your eye, I think you'll find nice price winners at this festival. You know, with the help of the Turner's Chase, Novice Chase going, that's going to help as well. And the only people giving out about that going out Willie Mullins, because he just wants to mop up everything. He wants no competition. And fellas who just want to punt the ears off favourites all the time. But we don't want that.
No.
We want to find it.
Well, I want to see a competitive Arkle. So
Sorry?
I want to see a competitive Arkle or a competitive Broadway as well. Like the best horses, this is the thing about grade ones. Grade one shouldn't be given out in Happy Meals. The best horses at grade one level can win over various trips.
Yeah.
And horses that get pigeonholed into different trips very, very quickly, especially in the 2020s. And, you know, we saw Cotto Star go and win. Now, obviously, every horse can't be Cotto Star, but he went and won, you know, Tingle Creeks. He went and won Gold Cups, King George's, Ascot Chases.
He won a Tingle Creek and a King George in the same month, didn't he?
Yeah, right, unbelievable horse. Even like you don't even see it that much. Like even Spillane Tower last year going from the Fairyhouse to Punchestown. Galopin des Champs a few years ago, obviously the Durkin winner. The same year he won, I think, his first Gold Cup. Like it's, you know, it's not taboo for these horses. They are able to do it. They just need not many horses get the opportunity to do it these days, which is a pity. No. But you know, taking races away will force trainers' hands. We've seen it a little bit at Christmas. We're going to see it in the spring, and it's only going to be good for the sport. Off on a bit of a tangent there to start, but look, it needed to be said, I'm sure. Dec, you're looking forward to this card, as you said, a competitive enough Fairyhouse card, and it looks like we are going to beat the weather as well, which is the main thing. Yeah,
I love racing in January. I know it gets a bit of stick, but I absolutely love it. I'm
coming around to it. I gave it stick, but I am coming around to it.
It's mostly in the east. I can go every weekend.
Yeah.
Like I think it's only like Tortoise is one of the weekends now. Other than that, it's all in the east. You know, you're getting nice Punchestown, Fairyhouse, nice again at the end of the month. I love it, and it keeps you out of the pub when you're trying to detox as well.
Yeah, but, I haven't been really detox.
When there's nothing happening in January, you know, life's a little bit boring. I think we get good racing as well. Like, you know, the Dan Moore card are really informative cards. You have the Moscow Flyer on Sunday. What have we got on? Like the Tayestis is in January. We have like there's always a good card at Nice, another one on the 26th. You have the Kinloch Bray. I think racing in January is absolutely brilliant, and I love the way it comes. Like I did really miss, or I still do really miss the two Leopardstown cards. They were
standalones.
They were brilliant. But I think I love racing. Absolutely love it. Get you out of the house, get you something to do. And I think, you know, if you are struggling to do something this weekend, get the Fairyhouse and Punchestown.
There you go. Couldn't agree more. Well, look, the racing starts at midday on Saturday. The Racing TV Club Day at Fairyhouse Hurdle is the opening race. It's for the 4-year-olds, Dec, and there is winners in this field as well. So 3 horses carrying a £5 penalty here: Butterfingers for Ross O'Sullivan, Space Warrior for Thomas Mullins, and Wendrock for Gordon Elliott, who was impressive enough. Quick enough turnaround from his win on the 27th of December at Leopardstown in what is traditionally a strong maiden hurdle. They're probably going to be the 3 that set the standard. I don't know of any of the maidens in here. I think they'd want to improve a lot to be getting involved. Hobart as well, obviously coming from the flat. He's the only one having his first run over hurdles. He was okay on the flat. Like he ran twice and he will win races on the flat. He's shown enough ability to maybe win a handicap. But he might need obviously a bit more time over hurdles. Dec, who do you like here?
I have it between the 3 winners. Anyway,
you'd have to, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Butterfinger's actually a horse I've been following since he was with Mick Mulvaney, and I thought when he was stepped up in trip he would win on the flat. He was awfully disappointing at Sligo one night for Mulvaney, and I think he was just weak. He's gone to Ross and he's strengthened it up, and he's actually won a hurdle race and he's won on the flat for Ross. I think he needs to go up and trip, but there's probably not much around for him up and trip. But when he steps up and trip to 2.5 miles, I'll be backing him, and when he steps up again to 3, I'll be backing him again in handicaps. Wedrock.
Wedrock. Look,
He won well from Galileo Dame at Leopardstown. Does have a bit to find with Space Warrior though, through Beyond Your Dreams, and that's where I'm going with Space Warrior, basically on that form. There's not an awful lot else to go on, but just because of that, I'll go with Space Warrior. Or I will be interested in Butterfingers when he steps up and trip.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping I'd see a bit more from Space Warrior on his run in the Grade 3 at Fairyhouse. Look, he tried to go with the pace, but he was beaten too early for the pace to be a factor, really. He was beaten a long, long way that day. I thought Wendrock was very brave to go and win at Leopardstown. He was well clear of Galileo Dame. Looked like he improved quite well from his first to second run. Obviously, a lot less experienced than Space Warrior, who obviously had plenty of goals on the flat. I think he'd 5 or 6 flat starts. So Wendrock obviously a little bit less experienced than that. He's a mad colour. Like, he's down as a grey horse, but like he almost looks black. I think he'd be grey in a few years' time now. But really, really interesting, pretty looking horse now he is. But I think him coming out quickly. I'm trying to gauge whether how strong that Leopardstown maiden actually was. As I said, it's traditionally a strong enough race. Galileo Dame was rated 96 on the flat, which didn't necessarily jump that well. And the race, they were really they were well clear. The first 3 were well clear from an eye catcher in fourth. There was a Willie Mullins horse in the JP colours, big eye catcher in fourth. Last Kingdom, I think he's called. He'll win races. Wouldn't surprise me if he ended up in the Boodles. But Wendrock is, I could see him, possibly going Boodles' favourite after winning this. I'm not sure if he'd be up to try and further class. Maybe he will be. Depends how easy he goes and wins this. But I think that's the type of calibre of horse you're looking at in a race like this. And I do fancy Wendrock to go and win. Not really sure who would finish him, follow him home. But they're it is between the winners. But I'd be going with Wendrock here for Gordon Elliott and Jigginstown. On to the 12:32 then, Dec. And that's only 32 minutes between this race, the first race and the second race, so we're getting a little better. Although I think it's back to 35 minutes after. I know you don't like your 35-minute breaks, especially. I
don't like the 35-minute breaks. There's been a couple of times been at racing this year, and I've been like, Jesus, this is getting a bit boring. And I think
it even happened at Nace as well. Yeah,
it will turn punters away when it's cold as well. And like, there was people going, "Oh, you find someone to talk to, or do this or do that." Like, or have a point. Like, if you go racing once or twice a year, that's fine. Like, you're there every weekend and you've talked to everyone.
You're sick of talking. It's only so much talking to me you can do.
I've spoken to the other 10 people that are here, a couple of times already, and they're probably tired of talking to me. And it just you feel it. You do feel it when you're standing around it going. There's only so many times. I love going racing. There's only so many times you can watch them walk around the circle.
Yeah. Only so many times you can say hello to the little Yank.
Yeah.
No, whatever. But, right.
Look, it looks like it's here to stay. So I don't know. I think it will turn punters away, particularly on the quiet days.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree. Half an hour. We don't need much longer. Right then, so the SBK Mares Maiden Hurdle, we've going to have Kimi Demai here, who's rattled off a hat-trick in France.
No, just 2.
Oh, it's not a hat-trick. It's saying here a hat-trick. I'm getting 3 wins here. Right, you only getting 2?
2 from 3, I thought she was.
I'm getting 3 from 4.
Oh, I must be.
Nah, you're fine. Don't worry. So yeah, first time up for Willie Mullins by Non-Reen the Reen. That's a mental stallion name. I've never actually heard of him. It doesn't seem to be that cover. It doesn't seem to have covered that many horses. Anyway, she is probably going to be a warm order here, Dec. Even though the expensively bought Qualamita is in here, but it's probably fair to say she's been bitterly disappointed. She needs a fence yesterday, to be honest with you. Although Willie's is going to be a warm order, we do have 6.5 in here. She's won a bumper and had a nice career on the flat then after that, which culminated in a 3rd place finish in the Irish Czarwich. And she's rated 96, so she's a very interesting recruit to hurdling, although given her platform, she may need further. And then Gino Bella, who is a mare that I quite like. She won't be winning this, but will be interesting when she gets a handicap mark. I think she's going to need another 2 starts, though. I think it was a bumper she ran in first time out. Ran a nice race on debut, but she won't be up to winning this. Dec, not a bad mare's maiden hurdle, but who do you like?
Yeah, Kimmy DeMay. She's either 3 from 4 or 2 from 3. Depends where you
Depends where you're looking. Depends where you're looking.
Where you want to read your form from. That were in those APQS flat races, or French bumpers, people like to call them. The second from our first win or our second win, I'm not sure which race I'm missing. Was actually bought by the same owners and was fought behind Shuffle the Deck at Nice just before Christmas. On her debut, when she was beaten, she was a length and a half off Kelly's Store, who Leon told us about on our podcast for
horses to follow. Listeners' horses to follow, yeah.
Listeners' horses to follow. And yeah, look, I've backed him for the Supreme, and I think he is one of Willie's good ones. So I obviously do like Kimmy DeMay. Stretch Him Out is the other one that caught me eye. She's won a point to point, and the second one next time out, I'd have it between them, but obviously with my anti-post punt on Kelly's Store, I'm hoping Kimmy DeMay absolutely bolts up.
Yeah, I think she's the. Yeah, I think as you said, that Kel Story form is interesting. Kimmy DeMay is probably the one that I would be with here myself. Do I want to be backing her at the price that she's likely going to be? I would say no. Anyway, Dec, would you rather have 500k or Qualometer?
The for $500,000, I think.
Yeah. I hope they can get a win or two into her, but Janie Mack she's starting to look a little bit disappointing now. I am very interested to see how 6.5 takes to hurdling. She is by Snow Sky, and as I said, has done well on the flat in recent times this season or last season. So give her, as I said, though, given her flat form, she might want a little bit further. So yeah, it's going to be the Willie Mullins mare for myself here as well, Dec. The 107 is our next race, and this is the SBK Handicap hurdle. It's over 3 miles, and yeah, not a bad old field here. Where's Frankie making his return to Fairyhouse after a few runs away, but definitely known for his chasing exploits more so than his hurdling exploits. Attaboy Archie as well seems to be running every other week. Doesn't look like he's getting much closer to a win at this moment in time, though. Fortune to Fortunata creeping down the weight, starting to, I wouldn't say get back into the well handicap territory, but it could be soon. I suppose, Dec, the interesting one is the one up the top there, King Alexander, for a stable debut again for Willie Mullins, coming over from the Nicky Henderson yard. The way I'm just looking at this race is something has to win it. It's a gilt edge opportunity. There's nothing necessarily in very good form, but as I said, something has to win it. So who'd you come down on?
I have it between Attaboy Archie and Where's Frankie.
Okay.
Attaboy Archie.
The two I scored at the start. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
Now Attaboy Archie's making his handicap debut. And I don't often go for handicap debutants. As you said, something has to win it, but he's well experienced. He was second in 2 bumpers. Second in 2 bumpers. One was behind Goodland, just behind Dr. Brave. He did have his troubles. He was off for some time, but he ran in the maiden at Navan behind Jasmine DeVoe, which, apart from Jasmine DeVoe letting the form down, had been working out quite well. And then he ran in a rated novice hurdle. He's an 8-year-old, but I think he could be trying on Saturday, which is half the battle. And he's obviously a horse who had ability, and hopefully on Saturday we'll find out he did retain that ability. And Where's Frankie? He did win 2 chases last season. One of them was here. Second was at Leopardstown off 115. He was back from a break when he had a hurdle run the last day. He was out the back, wasn't predicted to race at all. He does like Fairyhouse, so I reckon he could be knocking on the door. I'd find it hard to split them. I probably won't decide till Saturday morning, but I think the 2 of them will have a right go now in a very win-win race. Attaboy Archie and Where's Frankie? Yeah,
I suppose there was probably something wrong with So They Tell Me on his run at Galway. Like he was, pulled up fairly quickly. He didn't go very far in that handicap hurdle. One before that, and he probably does have a very unexposed profile. You just wonder how he's going to be after 164 days off the track. Then we've Sir Bob, the 13-year-old. So yeah, it's probably been a while since. It's probably going to be a while until he wins. Obviously, given his age, he'd be falling down the handicap now. But he's had 2 poor runs, or maybe 3 poor runs since he won last time. So, he's kind of a hard one to kind of catch as well. And there's obviously Wait Till I Tell You as well. Eddie Colley had a good day at Fairyhouse on New Year's Day, wasn't it? So, it obviously had a winner and a runner up in the maiden hurdle. You would just wonder how ready this horse is going to be on his first run of the season. As I said, just something has to win it. I just don't know which bloody one. I can't bring myself to have a bet in this one. I suppose I say King Alexander's going to be the favourite, but like his price is going to be ridiculous because it's Willie Mullins and Paul Townend. That's all people are going to be latching onto here. If Willie works him out, I'm sure he'll be the one that they all have to beat, but you couldn't be backing him with confidence. So it's probably going to be one that I watch from afar. And Dec, you're going to take the bottom 2, is it? Where's Frankie and Attaboy Archie?
I'm going to take the bottom 2, yeah. Attaboy Archie and Where's Frankie?
Yeah, you'll get a price on them. It's really winnable race. It's actually crazy. You don't usually see handicaps that aren't that competitive in Ireland, or uncompetitive in Ireland. Right then, on to the 145, the main event on the card, the Dan and Joan Moore, or the SBK Dan and Joan Moore Memorial Handicap Chase over 2 miles. A decent field of 13 going to post. 7-2 joint favourites. Hunter's Yarn making his making his handicap debut. I think he is.
Yeah.
Handicap chase debut because he ran the county, didn't he? So he was well beaten by an Ergamine in the Hilly Way on his first start, but you can always forgive him that dropping into handicap company now. And American Mike, who ran well over this course and distance last time out, who I fancy to go and win this, maybe make a pillar to post effort. I think it's maybe gonna get to the stage where people are kind of getting sick of him. Except for me, because I've only backed him once. So I'll probably be leaning towards American Mike. Where are you going here, Dec?
First of all, this is a big field for this race.
Yeah.
It's normally only about
single figures usually.
Yeah. Look, Hunter's Yarn I think is very hard to assess. He was a no-show at Cork, but he has been held up before, and I was wondering, was he not off at Cork, and was he not off in the Arkle? And Willie's that many horses. You go, well, there's a £100,000 pot next January, and I'll have that with this fella instead. So it is quite hard to assess. So I actually backed him in an Arkle, and I just don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he won.
He might have appreciated a step up and trip. It looked like he was going flat to the boards in the Arkle, I thought. He just jumped like a 2 miler in the Hilly Way, like so.
Yeah, he was never in. I thought he ran in the Arkle like a horse who wasn't off.
Right, I just don't think he was good enough. I just think it was he just couldn't go to clip.
Probably
personally,
that. But I'm not going to back him. Look, I said the King of PRs would win this race.
You did.
When he ran at Fairyhouse the last day. I said he'd win next time out, and then I said he'd come back and win the damn more. He arguably should have won at Leopardstown. He was beaten a neck overall. There's no the folks Tiara to worry about in here. He was finished ahead of him the last twice. And I just think he's a better horse at Fairyhouse, and he's going to be a lot fitter than he was when he ran here before Christmas. And haven't been left on the same mark, only been beaten the neck. I know you said they finished in a bunch, but he's just a better horse here at Fairyhouse, and I think he'd take a good bit of stopping now. I think it will take a Hunter's Yarn to beat. It'll take a Hunter's Yarn to beat him. He's been, when it's been the plan for a year, I think. Other than that's not really I'm afraid of. The captain's nephew, back to 2 miles for the first time since winning off 122. He has won at Fairyhouse as well in heavy ground, so he'll run his race. But the King of PR is only turned 7. I'm going to stick with what I said before Christmas.
All right, fair enough.
It's not the first time I've said that about this fella before, Chris.
No, it's actually not true. That's true. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, midnight it is actually a pound well in, given what Folly Master did on New Year's Day. I think he's gone up a pound for standing in his box. Very progressive horse for Gavin Cromwell. He's just turned 9, but kind of lightly enough raced for his age. Interesting runner. Feasted Aries as well, having his first chase start in quite a while. Tends to be seen just picking up prize money in the Irish Grade 1 2-mile hurdles. He's a very hard one to assess. Let's Go Champ. I just don't think that's going to be. This race isn't going to be his cup of tea. Good to see Hador back, but he has a lot to prove now. Pat Daru would have an each way chance as well, but I don't know what he's hiding from the handicapper right now. So I'm going to stick with American Mike. I think I could see American Mike and the King of PRs coming to the fore in this race, but I think if American Mike was going to win a decent pot, it's going to be this. And if it's not this, I don't know what you do with him. Because I do think a very strongly run 2 miles is what will suit the horse. He's a strong traveller. He proved last time out that he was able to go this clip, and if it wasn't for a mistake at the last, he might have won. So I'm going to take a chance on American Mike. And Dec, you're with the King of PRs, yeah?
I'm at the King of PRs. Strong on the King of PRs.
Strong at the King of PRs. There we go. Beginner's Chase next. The Irish Stallion Farms EBF Beginner's Chase at 2:18 is next up. I think this is. I thought this was actually a rated race, but I don't. I think that's actually later on in the card. So Asian Master. Obviously an interesting runner here. Mr. Giff, as you were speaking at the top of the show. Tully Hill as well. It's kind of hard to see Willie Mullins not winning this race, given who is in here. But there is obviously Antrim Coast who does look like a nice horse, but I don't think it's going to be. And today is going to be the day from. Who do you like here then, Dec? Is it Lisnagar Fortune? Probably the only other Willie Mullins horse I didn't mention, who you also mentioned at the top there.
A big fan of Lisnagar Fortune. But he hasn't been since he won the maiden a year ago at Punchestown. He won in good style, I thought. Looked a really nice horse. He was second before that to Reed and Tommy Wrong, but Mr. Giff, 5th in the Supreme, 6-year-old, solid spring form. I think he's the one that's going to take all the beating here. Asian Master, the owner's son, takes the ride again. Tom Costello, is it Tom?
Yeah, it's him, yeah.
Yeah, look, third to Matchborough the last day. We know the horse is a big engine, but I look, you know, well, everyone who listens to us knows we're ages, and I just messaged you, but I didn't think I'd fancy him. I looked at it the other day, and I was thinking, okay, Asian Master, Lisnagar Fortune. I was thinking definitely back in Lisnagar Fortune. When I looked at the form, Fitting Supreme, ran well at Punchestown. Seeing his age, I'd be keen enough on Mr. Giff now.
Mr. Giff for Dec. I'd imagine it's going to be Tully Hill's race to lose with the betting. And he ran quite well behind Malsborough. Any Malsborough fans would want to see, obviously, Tully Hill and Asian Master fighting out this finish to themselves, and there's a good chance that will happen. Asian Master's taken a long time to kind of mature, and he has gotten there. And yeah, I think he's the best horse in the race. I just couldn't back him, given I'd prefer, as I said, I'd prefer to see someone else maybe on him, but it's just one of them things. If he does go out to a backable price, I will back him, but I don't think I will be. I think he's going to be second in here behind Tully Hill, which is probably the way he has it. So with that, I'm going to probably say Tully Hill wins the race. But you couldn't put anyone off Mr. Giff, is what you said. Decent spring form, good run the Supreme, behind Gorgeous Tom, who has done good things over fences since at Punchestown, and has only turned 6. So yeah, I could see where you're coming from with Mr. Giff. On to the 251 then, Dec, the penultimate race on the card, which is the rated race, but I was just talking about, I had them mixed up. The Irish Stallion Farms EBF rated novice chase. Spirit of Legend topping the weights here off 125. 12 stone is equated to 125. A horse that I inexplicably missed last time out in Banjaxed, who won at Cork. That was pretty painful to see, but he definitely, I still think, has scope off 119 to maybe possibly go in again. I do think he's going to be better at 3 miles in time. But this is a good opportunity for him. And then Verdun Place, who finally obviously got his head in front over fences, didn't necessarily jump that well, but was still good enough to win. He was a bit careful at his fences, but he was obviously just too well handicapped that day. He'd want to probably improve a little bit to probably go and take this. But Dec, who do you like here?
I like Noble Bert, assuming he's going to give it a go.
Right.
He was third in the Cork Handicap behind and over fist off 120. He's a pound higher here. He won a Pertemps qualifier at Nace last year off 117. Like he's basically running off 121 here. So sometimes I always find it difficult to pick one out in these races.
Yeah. I quite enjoy these races actually. They're a good springboard for a horse, I think.
Yeah, they are, but for finding the winner.
Yeah.
Like they're like mini handicaps at times.
Yeah, well, they pretty much are. Like some horses have rating, some don't, but like it is a weird one.
They take a bit of working out, like they take a bit of take a bit of looking at for small fields, and
there's usually one that the handicapper gets completely wrong as well. Obviously we had Intense Raffles win one of these last year. I think actually might have been this race actually last year. It was this race.
And then he went
mockery of the
I think he went to one another one. Was it another one of these?
I think he's won a handicap, just a normal handicap. There's only 3 or 4 runners, and he won it by the length of the straight.
One of them 90 lengths, He had to though. He had to get into the national.
Yeah. Well, it didn't fill last year, so he actually didn't. But in hindsight, hindsight's 2020. I'm convinced Spirit of Legend has a decent race in him, and it was good that he finally got a completed start into him last time out in a hotter race.
What would you now? Philip Enright riding him for Henry in this would point.
Yeah, it tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? Really? Like
out the back,
it's gonna be.
There's a good bit of strangling.
It's probably gonna be nice at the end of the month, possibly for him. But I would I'd be very confident he will be able to win a decent handicap chase off 125 if he can complete, because he was traveling really well. That race that Safuer won, like he was back from 33s into 10-1, and he wasn't half traveling, and he didn't actually jump. He jumped the fence fine. He just buckled on landing down the back straight. I think it is going to be Nace, even though he's fallen the last twice at Nace. He was a beaten favourite when he fell the first time there at Nace, and he was again traveling really comfortably that day. So I think they are going to target a handicap chase at Nace for him. I highly doubt it's going to be Saturday. So with that said, I'm going to stick to Banjax. I'm going to go back to Banjax. I probably deserve what I get. I really fancied him at Down Royal. He made a mistake early on, stayed on 5th, completely missed him at Cork the next day, and everybody knows what's going to happen now. He's going to go and probably make another shuddering error and cost me more money, and I deserve every ounce of it for missing him the last day, but I'm still going to stick with him here to win this. Dec, you are going to be on the Noble Bert, is it?
Noble Bert, yeah.
And we're avoiding Verdun Place to play.
Oh yeah.
He's had his day. Right, on to the bumper, 326. I don't have a massive opinion. Surprise, surprise. I do suppose that the Tomps on Tomp for Gavin Cromwell, coming back from a maiden hurdle after finishing 2nd, is of automatic interest here. And probably will be a backable price, because there's we have Runcock, what great name that is, and Skylight Hustle, probably bought for stupid money after winning his point to point. But anyway, and then we've a well-bred Blue Brazil up the top there in Alpha Charlie for Gordon Elliott as well. So this is probably going to be a hot bumper. Is there anything you like here, Dec?
I've been told the Thompson Toms is a nice horse. I know Willie O'Doherty who trained him to win to be second in his point to point, and Willie told me he was a nice horse after he sold him. By the way, he wasn't. So he did mention to keep an eye on him. He was second as point to point. I'm not sure. It was a Manila horse he was second to. Hasn't ran since. And then he was second on his hurdling debut. But you loved him coming back into bumpers.
Yeah. Manila Duke was the horse that you're thinking of.
Yeah. So you got to be taking notice of that. But Skylight Hustle, point to point winner. The third from that point to point, beating 13 lengths, has actually followed up a 5-year-old. Look, I'm hoping I don't need to have a bet in this race, but it would be between them. Like, Willie did tell me the Thompson. He said to keep an eye on him. He said he's a nice horse. Right. And he is coming back here, but Skylight Hustle has that point to point form as well. I'd probably side with the racecourse experience, the Thompson.
Yeah, back from the maiden hurdle, has to be Thompson for myself as well. Punchestown Sunday then, Dec. We're just going to skim through this, obviously, because we're recording Thursday night, working without declarations, obviously. We just wanted to touch on this because, it's going to be a very informative card. What was used to be the Killiney Novices Chase, won by the likes of Bob Ollinger on Violin, the Spillans Tower, and Impervious. So really, like, probably a race
Winter
that kind of goes
invitation only. Carefully.
Winter Escape, who beat A Plutard in that race. I think A Plutard nearly just jumped out into the car park that day, or into the inner course. Can't remember.
I won by the likes of Texas Jack when it was at
Leopardstown.
Yeah,
really strong race. So like it's a race that you probably have to obviously follow it quite closely. There's a 2 mile 6 beginners chase to start the card. I think that's a bit of a run of the mill kind of. I think there's conditions on that, so you probably won't see a mega star in that. But then again, Dec, we have 11 right now for the Killiney, or what it's called Sky Bet for the fans novice chase. Okay. Is there any entries in there that you think are interesting?
The two that Touch Me Not stepping up and Trip, I'm not sure. I'm keen to see that. I would like him to,
£8 penalty as well.
Yeah,
for his Craic win. Yeah.
Prepared to put a line through is Sandown run, where he nearly took one of the fences home with him. And I'm not sure he'd be of much interest in me now at this trip with the penalty. Di Capo won. He won a nice enough beginner's chase at Leopardstown on the 28th, and I think he is a nice horse. He was a solid enough owner. He's going to be a better chaser. He was fourth to Ballybourne on his chasing debut. I'd have it between him and Lecky Watson. I'd probably have to side with Lecky Watson, to be honest, because I thought he was quite impressive at Naas.
Yeah.
He won a chase. I was a little bit taken by him now at Naas when he won. So I'd probably have to side with Lecky Watson.
Yeah, and you'd have no problem getting further as well, would he? So he's going to make this a bit of a test. I'll be very interested to see what Paul Nolan does with If I Were a Rich Man, who definitely needs to go this way, in my opinion. Like, he was an awkward looking ride. We won it down Royal on Stevenson's Day last year. Was a grand third behind In the Pocket at Wexford. But he responded a lot for pressure at Punchestown when he beat Jasco the Dam, who was, in career best form that day, and he was going away at the line, and he went away in the shape of a pretty nice horse, I thought. He's rated officially 132, so he's going to have a little bit to find, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was a little bit better than 132. Now, whether Paul Nolan wants him to be better than 132 on Sunday is another question, because there's probably nice pots that you can win with this horse, especially at the Punchestown Festival later on in the season. Like the novice handicap chase would be right up this horse's street, I think. Maybe just one to watch on Sunday, assuming he is declared here. I'd say 132 may slightly underestimate his ability, for sure. You probably don't want to talk about the not to 100, but probably look at Twitter for that one, Dec. Unless there is horses that you do fancy, you're more than welcome to put them up.
I couldn't tell he was running in it. I didn't look, but if there is something, I will be putting it up on. Is it a hurdle or a chase?
It's a hurdle, I believe. Just double check for you now.
It's no.
It's handicap chase. Sorry, it's one not to 100 handicap chase. Yeah, sorry.
All right. And have a look. If I do find something I will put it up.
Yeah.
I'll be having a look on Saturday.
Something that raised my eyebrow just before we get onto the Moscow Flyer deck, the qualified rider, the amateur national race, over 2 miles 6. I see now is the hour. You didn't see that race, did you, on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve behind Shannon Royale? Quite an eye-catching run from now is the hour.
We arrived at Punchestown just.
All right, okay. Yeah, an eye-catching enough run. The handicapper's given him a mark of 125 over fences. Now, if that horse can't win off 125, I will give up the game. That could be chucked in from a height now. And I'd say Gavin Cromwell's a little bit surprised with the mark that he's got. Now, he was well beaten by Shannon Royale and Il Atlantique on his last 2 starts, but this is a horse that won a novice grade 2 at Haydock.
But
only last February.
What was the novice grade 2 at Haydock? His mark is probably fair. He can probably win off it, but if it was £5 higher, he wouldn't be of much interest to me, to be honest. And he probably should win this race off that mark. Like, looking at the dangers, Daily Present, who has a run under his belt, could give it a good go. And Prince Alter, but he's been out for a long time. Other than that,
yeah, all the horses he beat at Haydock were in the 120s and 130s in England. He won that race with 17 lengths. Now, you can't judge him on his last 2 chase starts. He was a beaten 6-4 favourite behind Summer Tide on his chasing debut, giving him £5 that day. Summer Tide in his own right is rated 122 now. I think 125 is a bit of a cop-out mark. I think this horse could be lobbed in from height. I really do. Now, whether he runs, I think they've just kind of got checked the mark there. This horse is probably going to end up in something like the National Hunt Chase at Cheltenham, and he might have a few extra pounds on his back. But look, I would be.
It'll probably be whatever mark he wrote down and didn't bother publishing after Haydock. Yeah,
it could well be. 125 is a fairly loose mark for now. Is the hour? I think. Be interesting. I don't think he's gonna
as you and I think he can win off it, but like if he was £5 higher, £7 higher, wouldn't be.
I think the horse is loaded with ability. I really do.
Probably now.
He probably can't win the Grand National or something with a few wins in a row. Right, the 225 is the race we probably want to talk about. Dec, I'm probably wasting your time here a little bit, so apologies. The 2 mile grade 2 for the novices. Salvador Mundi, back from the dead, good to see him. Is now a shade of odds on to go and win this with the anti-post bet. And then obviously Kel History, who you want to talk about, very impressive at Cork after coming from France. And then a horse that I'm a big fan of, I don't expect him to line up though. Ballygunner Castle, I'd be almost surprised if he was declared, to be honest with you.
Is he going with Tanya Lacey?
I hope so. I'm going to back him at the Dublin Racing Festival wherever he goes anyway, because he's not going to be the first string, and he left a major impression on me winning at Punchestown. I know it didn't look like a strong race.
Well, you want to see him in the Tanya Lacey with Danny on board?
I do, yeah, I absolutely do.
Just going up every year and do the same thing.
Danny and the Nathaniel Lacey, yeah. Well, Final Demand could be the Nathaniel Lacey horse, but he has given away a lot of experience. But we're not here to talk about the Nathaniel Lacey deck. We're here to talk about the Moscow Flyer. So who do you like? Talk us through.
Look, I don't know anything about Salvador Mundi other than the fact that
he's alive.
Tried to get in when an ass was roared off him at Tipperary, and he was second to Sergino in France. Kellistor, Leon put us on to him, called it very, very early. We couldn't find anything about the horse. We had to go and find him on France Gallop. He wasn't on the Racing Post. He wasn't on Irish Racing. And I do trust Leon's judgment, and he did things nice at Cork, and
he picked up well.
I'm a believer in so Salvador Mundi, look, he's nothing more than a talking horse at the moment. I don't know. Do you know anything about me? Nothing tried to get near him.
He was sixth in a Triumph Hurdle as well in between those 2 runs you mentioned. Well beaten by Malsborough. Obviously, look, don't get me wrong, the Triumph Hurdle is a very strong looking race. The whole kind of crop is. We haven't seen Stormheart. We haven't seen the horse that was just behind him, Bunting. Obviously, Nürburgring's gone and won a Galway hurdle. Salver was in the process of running really well in the Rail Keel on New Year's Day. I don't think he'd have won, but he'd have been placed. Cargeese, danced every dance, and we should see her quite soon. She's after getting an Irish champion hurdle entry. And then obviously Malmesbury, who needs no introduction, so impressive on his chase debut. So you're hanging this on him improving for the experience of his 3 runs that he's had to date. You cannot judge him on his run at Tipperary because that was just a piece of work. Do I want to be backing him at odds on? Probably not. My worry is, though, that Ballygunner Castle and Kelhistory will not get declared. I just think that what Kelhistory showed us on his debut, for him to be 100 to 30 or 7 to 2 at the minute, you'd be pretty comfortable backing him at that price, I think. But is it a price that's reflecting that he's not going to run? And look, by the time a lot of you guys listen to this, you're going to have declarations. As I said, we're recording this on a Thursday evening. But it's an interesting one. Look, there is a lot of horses in here that you could probably give a chance to. Cashdale Lad was impressive enough on his debut. Jabbar, who only ran once over hurdles. The handicapper's given him a rating of 133 for that run, beating the Enabler, who was a nice enough horse. The Enabler was 1-9 to win that day, and finally got his head in front. Tried to pull himself up against Owen Lorenzo at Leopardstown, but just about got home there. Was second to Jasmine DeVoe as well. Like, there's a very good chance Jabbar, who was 85 rated on the flat, had plenty of opportunities, ran I think 17 or 18 times on the flat, only ran once over hurdles and went and won. Like, he's a 20 to 1 poke. Handicapper's given him a mark of 133 for that one run. You would wonder how good he actually is. And then even Sporting Glory, obviously a 9-year-old now, has had his problems, but I thought was good at Galway as well. Like, they're formidable, and like, they're decent enough yardsticks. I was going to say formidable, that's the wrong word, but they're fair yardsticks. I think this is going to be a nice race deck.
But we usually see Willie's Supreme Horse here, don't we? Like, in Perry Pass one, I know we went to the dissect Dynamo. Get aboard, just couldn't go left-handed. Me and Duvan Vitor, Michael Dagenay, he runs nice horses here. Yeah, no, absolutely. Right, so you're with Kelhistory once he gets declared. I would probably agree, because I'm under the impression Ballygunner Castle, I'd be pretty surprised if he was declared, to be honest with you. I've been wrong in the past, but I would be with Kelhistory myself. We'll keep a close eye on Sporting Glory and Jabbar, see how they go. But I do, like you, I would trust Leon, good friend of the show, nice bloke. Hope to see him at Cheltenham again. Probably nothing there for the maiden hurdle or the concluding race either, Dec. So we'll probably leave it at that. Have a look, but we'll get selections up. Saturday evening, hopefully.
Absolutely. Anything before we sign off? Do you have a best bet or anything like that, or are you just going to enjoy the race this weekend?
The King of PRs, I suppose.
King of PRs. Yeah. I probably a bit short on best bets for myself, but like, I do like American Mike, but I don't like American Mike as much as you like the King of PRs. So I'm not going to put one up right against you. But yeah, no, I think it's a good weekend's racing, is what you said, an informative weekend's racing that we've taken you through there. So just keep liking, sharing, subscribing, all the good stuff, guys. And thank you very much for all your comments and all the interactions. It is much appreciated. Until Tap 85, we will talk to you soon. Bye bye.